in the bomb threat investigation involving historically black colleges.
A lot of these calls happened yesterday and the day before on the eve and at the start of Black History Month.
It is scary.
The campus is currently on lockdown. Non-residential students and staff should not report to campus. Campus operations are suspended for the day.
It is horrifying.
Campus will be remote until 12 p.m. today.
And just yesterday, there were a total of 6 threats consisting of bomb threats and shooting threats that were called in to 6 historically black colleges and universities throughout the country.
It is terrible.
Chief Jakari Young says a man claiming to be affiliated with a neo-Nazi group claimed there were 7 explosives on campus and said there would be an active shooting around lunchtime.
So I feel like it is definitely targeted. I don't know what exactly the message is that they're trying to put out there.
That these students, these faculty, these institutions are feeling under threat.
After 5 hours of searching, police say no explosives were found.
No explosive devices have been found at any of the campuses.
Welcome back to the channel. So glad that you found my backup for Anna's thoughts and musical parodies here at Anna Speaks Out. Thank you so much for being here. So for anyone who wants to support what I do here, I just created a new vintage reselling profile, and I have some Brixton hats that are just slightly imperfect and could not be sold at retail, as well as some actually brand new Coach items that I'm selling well below the retail price.
You know, it's almost Valentine's Day, so this is a great place to get a nice gift at a reduced price. Link in the bio. Thank you so much. So according to ABC News, as of February 1st, 2022,
multiple HBCUs temporarily cancel classes following threats. The other thing that all of the articles keep talking about is juveniles identified as persons of interest in HBCU bomb threats.
And they keep talking about 6 tech-savvy minors who were disguising their phone calls in sophisticated ways.
The FBI has identified 6 persons of interest.
Now, police tell us that they have some tech-savvy juveniles as persons of interest, 6 of them.
They're all juveniles.
The FBI says the threats were made using sophisticated methods to try to disguise the source of the threats, which appear to have a racist motivation.
All juveniles.
CNN, as of February 3rd, says the investigation into the bomb threats is of the highest priority for the Bureau and involves more than 20 FBI field offices across the country, although at this time no explosive devices have been found at any of the locations. The FBI takes all threats with the utmost seriousness, and we are committed to thoroughly and aggressively investigating these threats, the agency said. So that's kind of interesting. We know that there have been a lot of people involved with the Jeffy Steen, Gizzy Max situation than have ever been caught, but that's not the highest priority to look into, apparently. Neither is the active massive shoplifting that's been happening all over my state of California and other places too, I'm quite sure. Because why would there be? Why would they want to stop that, right?
Our Homeland Security advisor is in close touch with law enforcement authorities at a federal and local level, and we are assessing what we think the origin, the reasoning, the motivation behind it is.
They appear to have a racist motive, which perhaps is obvious.
We don't have an assessment of that quite yet, and I don't want to get ahead of that process.
FBI officials say the juveniles live all across the country. So far,
they're all juveniles, they're all very tech savvy, and they've been disguising how they are making these calls, more than 20 now over the past month or so.
After 5 hours of searching, police say no explosives were found.
No explosive devices have been found at any of the campuses.
I can tell you from talking to a lot of students and administrators at these schools yesterday, they are going to be pleased to see that the FBI is making some progress. There's a lot of concern that they want to see the federal government step up and try to solve this problem.
NBC News came out with an article on February 3rd entitled
HBCU bomb threat caller described elaborate plot.
By Associated Press. A caller who threatened to blow up a historically black university in Florida described an elaborate plot involving 7 bombs hidden in duffel bags and backpacks around the school perimeter.
In a 20-minute phone call, the caller said the bombs containing C4 explosives
would be detonated at Bethune-Cookman University on Monday. The caller also said a gunman would open fire on the campus around lunchtime. Okay, so here's some stuff that I find interesting about this whole situation. First of all, why would the colleges, universities be telling their students who live in the dorms to shelter in place rather than evacuate if there is a bomb threat that could threaten their lives? They were telling the, non-residential staff and whoever else not to show up, so it doesn't sound like they were trying to just question everybody, because that would only be questioning the people who are in the dorms, you know what I mean? Like, what's the reason for them staying there if there's a threat? It just doesn't add up to me. I remember back in like 2017 or 18, there were really intense wildfires where I lived in California, and I had to leave. There were shelters set up like at schools and stuff. People just had to go wherever they could. Yeah, so I don't know why this would be different. Just doesn't add up to me. It's also interesting that it was all set up so perfectly. Apparently, a lot of it popping off right at the beginning of Black History Month. And apparently what we're supposed to believe is that there are 6 juveniles, under 18, teenagers, supposedly, who are so racist that they would design an elaborate plot scheme, to blow up a bunch of HBCUs and call and leave a 20-minute message, or I don't know if they're saying it was a voicemail or a conversation, just describing everything that they're going to do. They'd go out of their way to do all of that, risk their whole entire futures just because they're that racist. Like, okay, very interesting. The reports were also saying that one of the initial calls was right around at 3:30 a.m., which is, it just happens to be what they call the witching hour. And there are also those Masons of Freedom who associate with the number 33, if you've heard of that before. So yeah, it's interesting. Oh, and just in case you forgot, as I covered in a couple recent videos, the Convoy to DC 2022 is still going on. And I've been seeing reports of GoFundMe deciding to keep the donations that have been collected for the organizers and people involved in this Freedom March. And at this point, if you are somebody who had donated to that cause and you don't go and get your money back quickly, they are going to redistribute it to charities of their choosing. But here's something that I saw on Instagram that seems like it would be the best option for anybody in that situation. Do not use the GoFundMe.com refund form. Issue a chargeback / open a dispute with your bank. This way, GoFundMe will have to pay $15 USD in addition to refunding your money. So that could be a good way to kind of push back on the fascism and socialism that is currently being perpetrated, in my opinion, by GoFundMe. So Godspeed to anybody who had donated, and that's it from me today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you again so much for being here today. Since you liked the video enough to make it all the way to the end, don't forget to click the thumbs up and share with somebody else who would also find it interesting. Leave your comments below so we can have a conversation. And if you would like to support what I do here, check out the link in the description for several different ways that you can do that. Have a wonderful night, afternoon, morning, evening, whatever time zone you are in. And I will see you next time. Bye.